Obviously, today we are here to preview this weekend's Toyota Save Mart 350 at Sonoma Raceway, a race that Martin is all too familiar with winning. So, Martin, I'll kick it off for you. What makes you so darn good at Sonoma Raceway, and how many of those wine goblets do you have at your house at this point?
Well, three. Hopefully that's not the end of that. But just I've always enjoyed road course racing. That's we've been going there a long time, obviously, and been able to figure out some tricks and some things that work for me, and then really just dialing the car into the way I like to approach the track and the things I look for in the car. So been lucky to have obviously great teams, great race cars out there at Sonoma, and for whatever reason, it's just it's been a really good place for us. So need to get some momentum back. This would be a good place to do it this weekend.
Perfect. Well, we would love to see that number 19 Bass Pro Camry in Victory Lane. We like celebrating our own entitlements with our own drivers.
For sure.
Excellent. Well, let's go ahead and get to questions. We will start with Bob Pockris. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, Martin, with the 2019 race being a different package as far as it was high downforce than 2 years ago, so this will be the first race with the carousel and the low downforce. What are you studying to prepare?
Not really a whole lot you can do. I mean, I went and ran the Toyota simulator yesterday for a bit just to kind of reacclimate myself to the track, and hopefully that gave us a bit of an indication on what the low downforce will be like. But really, that's about all you can do. I mean, we were able to win there years ago, and obviously it's a little bit different now. But in the low downforce package, we ran really well there in 17. Felt like we were in position to win the race and lost an engine. So we've got some good notes to go off of and everything else. And we'll just have to see. Different tire this year, and like you said, low downforce. So it's always a bit of a guessing game.
And I know COTA is kind of an outlier because of the rain, but after this weekend, we'll have seen 3 road course races this year, 3 more left in the regular season when it comes to road courses. Like, will you have a good idea of kind of who's good and who's not on road courses for this year after this weekend?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's hard to say that. Obviously there's a handful of guys that seem to be really good on all of them so far, and I think going forward, I think all the road courses now are so different, and so unique. I think you could have potentially different guys good at different ones. So I think it's hard to just pick a few guys, to be honest with you, Bob. So we'll have to wait and see how those things work out. And it's a big learning curve learning new road courses, and so it's there's a big advantage, I think, to running Xfinity and things like that when you go to a new place. And they take a little time to figure out from a driver standpoint and also from a car setup standpoint. So limited practice and no testing, all those kinds of things at a new track, you never really know who's going to show up and be the guy to beat.
Perfect. Thanks for your questions, Bob. Next, we'll go to John Newby. Go ahead, John.
Thank you. So obviously there's no practice or qualifying this week, but you have a history of success at Sonoma. Does it give you a little bit of extra confidence knowing that you have all of this positive tape, positive notes that you can go back and look at, knowing that you can enter the week prepared to contend once again?
Yeah, for sure. I think anytime you go to a track that you've had past success and you have confidence in what you need to do and the way to approach it, I think it's always a good thing. It's never a guarantee. We've had the past few weeks a couple tracks we've been really good at in the past, and we kind of struggled. So NASCAR is a humbling sport. You could win 5 races in a row and then not finish 5 in a row. So we'll see. I'm obviously looking forward to it and optimistic, and have confidence, but that doesn't guarantee anything. So we'll see what we can do, and look forward to getting out there and racing.
Perfect. Thank you, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Next, we'll go to Mark Garrow. Go ahead, Mark.
Thank you. Martin, you just talked about low downforce package, different tire. It seems to me almost borderline crazy that you guys won't practice a lap and take the green flag and bust off to turn 1. Am I crazy for thinking that's borderline crazy?
I think a year ago we all would have agreed with you, or a year and a half ago, or whatever it was when this all started, with no practice. I think it's something that we've all just kind of really gotten used to, and understand that, hey, the first couple laps, you're going to be, give a little bit extra room, and, try to just not overdrive the car and just see what you got for a lap or two and then go from there. So, I mean, I think it's on a road course especially, it could potentially get wild. We've seen Sonoma have some pretty wild restarts in the past. It's a slower road course, very technical, very slick, and it's real easy to get in trouble. So, I mean, I think the first few laps trying to get settled in and single filed out a little bit is going to be a big challenge.
Does everybody agree on we're only going to run 8/10, not 10/10 the first two laps? Or
I'd call it 98%, not 100. I mean, it's definitely not 8/10. It's way closer to the limit than that. So I think, yeah, just always trying to just hold back just a tiny little bit to make sure you're on the safe side, especially double file.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark. Next we'll go to Dustin. Go ahead, Dustin.
Thank you. Martin, how do you view what Hendrick Motorsports has done the last three races? Those are not playoff tracks, and certainly you're one who's won at playoff tracks. So is there a concern in the sense that Hendrick's doing this, or not as much because there may not be as much carryover, or how do you view what they've done?
Well, I think we all look at them as being a really strong team and having really fast race cars, and consistently. It's not just with the 550 package, which I feel like they've been dominant in that, and we feel like we're definitely behind in that area. But I think across the board they've been strong if you look at it. So all their teams, all their drivers at different tracks have all been strong and winning races, and they're definitely doing a good job. So we're always working to try to be better, but definitely the 550 tracks we feel like we're behind.
Also, I'm curious, have you been able to work or do much with Ty Gibbs, or had much work with him or communication with him? And if so, just kind of what he's been able to do so far with 2 wins in the first 6 races in the Xfinity Series?
Really not a lot at all. I mean, I hardly ever even talk to him. I hardly ever see him. So it's I seen Cole yesterday. I'm like, man. And I texted Coach this weekend. I'm like, man, that boy's good. So he's obviously got a good future, and it's crazy to see him go out there and win. He looks like he's 12 years old, but he's impressive, man. And it's been really, really fun to watch that. I know it means a lot to Coach, and I know Coy's excited, and they put a lot into getting him up through the ranks. So he doesn't need my help. He's doing an incredible job for a young guy. And I told somebody, I was like, the impressive part is, he doesn't have tons of racing experience. In Charlotte, he spins out, gets in a bad spot, and drives it back to the front and wins. So, I mean, doing a great job, and got a bright future.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Dustin. Next we'll go to Claire. Go ahead, Claire.
Thank you. So you have 3 wins, 4 top 5s, 5 top 10s, and you look at Sonoma. Pretty good at Sonoma, I would say. What does it take for a driver on a road course, and what does it take any different at a place like Sonoma? Like, what does it take to excel at a road course like Sonoma?
Well, you got to have everything, just like everywhere else, Claire. It's you got to have the technique of how to drive the car, and then the car needs to do the things that you need it to do to use those techniques. So, for us over the years, we've been able to kind of mesh those two together and be able to have good speed and have success there. But it's definitely not easy. I think at a road course, the big thing is it's, a place like Sonoma is so technical. One little mistake in one corner messes your whole lap up. So that's really the big thing is hitting your marks, being consistent, being able to be aggressive in the way you drive your car and attack the racetrack without making mistakes. So you got to have a car that'll allow you to do that, and at the same time, the driver's got to be on point at hitting the right spots and doing all the right things with shifting and braking, and not wheel hop and things like that.
I've taken so many pace car rides. The first real road course I took a pace car ride on, it blew my mind. that you guys could even do that. I could feel it in the seat of my pants. I thought I was crashing or hitting a wall every turn, and I was with a professional driver, right? What do you think the fans don't know about what it's like to race a place like Sonoma? That when you're not in the seat and you're watching on TV, trying to give them the view, it to me was insane to ride in a pace car there.
Yeah, I think the funnest part about Sonoma is the car is really in a four-wheel slide around the whole racetrack. You know, from entry to exit, the car is sliding the whole time, and you're trying to hit your entry, apex, and exit marks every single lap. And at the same time, your tires are wearing out and you're losing grip, and you have to keep doing that and keep adapting each and every lap, which you're basically losing grip almost every single corner as you go around the track after a lap or two. So the car changes a lot, and you have to be on top of that, which that makes it a lot of fun.
Well, thank you very much. Good luck this weekend, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Claire. Next we'll go to Woody Kane. Go ahead, Woody.
Thanks. Hey, Martin, appreciate your time. I wanted to get you to look ahead, if you will, at the All-Star race. A ton of segments, short dashes, some inversions. I didn't see anything about ramps or driving backwards or anything like that, but it's going to be kind of wild. So your thoughts on the format and it being in Texas after being in Charlotte for so long?
Yeah, it's interesting, to have it in Texas. I really hadn't thought a whole lot about it yet, but all-star races are always potentially wild and crazy, and all the inverts and the restarts and the short runs. You got to have a car that's got really good speed, and it's going to be tough. So it'd be fun to have the first one out in Texas. Great track, and great venue. Obviously, a lot of great fans out there, and look forward to seeing them. But I don't really know what to expect. We ran strong there last fall, but I think it's going to be totally different. Being an all-star race and guys bringing some stuff that needs to run really fast for 10 laps. So kind of a guessing game at this moment.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Thanks, Woody. Next we'll go to Mitchell. Go ahead, Mitchell.
Martin, as we enter the month of June, how important would you say that this next, the summer stretch of the season is? Because it can be a part of the season that I've noticed can be a little overlooked with the playoffs and the beginning of the season. How important would you say this stretch of the season is?
Well, I always look at every weekend as being important. I think if you look at points and bonus points and being able to win races and how that works towards the playoffs, I mean, every race is important. I know the summer stretch here, we have a lot of tracks that, aren't necessarily in the playoffs, or, they're one-off road courses, things like that. But anytime you can go out and, have a chance to win and score bonus points for the playoffs, it's a big one. So, I don't look at, I think every race is important. They all matter when it comes down to the playoffs and all that. So we're focused ahead on trying to get momentum back. We've had a couple tough weeks here, and humbling sport, this NASCAR racing. So, we dominate Darlington in 3 weeks. We can't get out of our own way. So it's been tough, but hopefully we'll get it turned around this weekend.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Next we will go to Nate Ryan. Go ahead, Nate.
Thanks, Lisa. Hey, Martin, you mentioned you guys were off a little bit on the 550 stuff, obviously behind Hendrick. Cole Custer was talking this morning about how the big struggle right now for Stuart Haas is in trying to improve. The lack of practice makes it difficult because the simulation doesn't necessarily always correlate, and you don't really know what you got until you do it in real life. So I'm wondering, as you guys try to catch Hendrick here in the run up to the playoffs over the next couple of months, have you guys talked about that or looked at that? Is that a big challenge for JGR having less practice?
Yeah, it's a big challenge for everyone. I think that, if you were ever going to be on top of your game, this is, the kind of time frame you wanted to be able to do that in, because, there's so many things that are locked in right now when it comes to, parts and pieces for the cars, very, very small amount of wind tunnel time that we're allowed to use these days. And, having to rely so heavily on simulation, which, as you said, Cole mentioned, sometimes it doesn't line up. And, every weekend I asked James, I said, what do you think, how do you think we're going to be? And he's like, well, if our 800 assumptions are correct, we're going to be really good. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guesswork involved. There's a lot of, taking gambles, taking risk, really trying to believe in, the things that you're using as tools, but sometimes they don't all line up, and you end up having a tough weekend, and it's hard to turn it around. So, I would agree it's a tough time to catch up, but I think at JGR, since I've been part of it, they've always found a way. We've always been able to win races consistently and battle for championships, and I see definitely we'll be able to get some things better in the 550 cars this year.
Knowing you guys are so limited in real world practice, obviously you got Nashville coming up and Road America, but that's of course a road course, and Indy road course as well for practice sessions. Can you test anything and kind of whittle down any of those 800 assumptions, like on one of those tracks, even if it's not germane necessarily that weekend? Can you test anything in real life there that you're looking ahead toward the rest of the season or the playoffs? Or have you guys thought about doing any of that? Or
I think the road courses are a totally separate deal, and then Nashville's low downforce. So, to answer your question, not really. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do. The cars are so different when you're talking about low downforce and 550 package. Not a whole lot translates.
Gotcha. And then just one more for you, Martin. I mean, mentioning that the James Small 800 assumptions thing. I mean, is that relationship, that trust between driver and crew chief? I know it's always important, but the last year and a half, has it just even become more and more magnified with everything being such a guessing game?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's I have a lot of confidence in him, and obviously, we've been a little bit hit or miss here lately. But having 3 wins in the bank is good, and I think we've probably we've gotten a little bit aggressive, and that's part of the reason why we won some races, I think, and it's also part of the reason why we've been a little bit inconsistent. So. Just trying to nail things down and be ready when all the the money's on the line here at the end of the year. But James is doing a great job, and we've made a few mistakes along the way between the both of us, and we're trying to just fix all that stuff. But he's doing a good job, and he gets madder than me when we don't run well, so that's always a good sign.
Great. Thanks, Martin. Thanks, Lisa.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Nate. Next, we'll go to Jenna. Go ahead, Jenna.
Thanks, Lisa. Hey, Martin, two different questions, but sort of somewhat related. Things are obviously opening back up. Fans are coming back. A whole bunch of tracks today announced they're going to be at full capacity, and camping's coming back, and fan zones are going to be open. As a driver, how much do you feed off of that? People in the stands and the crowds being back?
I would say a lot. I mean, I think, especially here lately with everything, getting back to normal, it just, on the grid at the 600 the other night, it was so fun. We had our friends there, we had sponsors there, fans, and, all the military personnel around. I mean, it was just, it was an incredible feeling. And that's like, everyone was like, man, this is what it's all about right here. So it was so fun. And, we were fortunate enough to win, a couple of races when there was no one in the stands, or at least one, I think, at Martinsville last year. And it felt like, it was like, oh yeah, whoop-de-doo, we won a race, time to go home. I mean, it just you take so much of their energy and their excitement, and you can feel that. So it's huge. We're all excited. I think everybody's looking forward to the rest of the year and having a big time, and we're certainly no different.
So a follow-up to that is, Sonoma is such a special race, and everybody loves it. You go out early, you have a good time. Saturday is usually a short day. The wives and girlfriends have big plans. Is it back to normal yet, that schedule still exists? Or because it's a one-day show, do you think it's not really back to normal yet for a Sonoma weekend?
For me, it's not going to be back to normal because we don't practice or qualify or any of that. So, I mean, I'm going out with the team on Saturday and, show up to the track Sunday, race, and come back home. So, yeah, I mean, I would say from that standpoint, not that I've spent a ton of time out there when we race before or after the race, but yeah, definitely not quite normal for that one yet.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Jenna. Well, Martin, I don't see any more questions in our queue, so
all righty.
I think you get out a few minutes early. So thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
No problem, Lisa. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. See you.